there, YouTube, everyone. Spaceman here, coming to you from Munn Park in Lakeland, Florida. And a little bit of a breezy day, but a beautiful day otherwise. And it's one of those days when you have a little bit of a breeze. The Zippo really comes in handy, as you can see, because of the windproof characteristic of a Zippo. So I'm sitting here in front of the fountain, as you can see, and the CSX Railroad runs right behind me. And I'm smoking my Savinelli Caramella 611 KS, and in the pipe I got some Buccaneer Blends Nougat. This is Edward's pipe tobacco. Buccaneer Blends Nougat. Smooth blends from the tropics, blended natural pipe tobaccos, blended the old-fashioned way. So, pretty good stuff. And got a nice tea here from Burger King. Always refreshing on a hot day. I don't know what the temperature is. It might be, should have checked my weather app on my iPhone. It's pretty hot. Got to be in the 90s, maybe. Lower 90s, I want to say. But it's hot. But I'm in the shade. Found myself a nice little shady spot here. And the reason for today's video is I'm pondering the question: if you could have been at any event in your life, not your life per se, your life, but if you could be and choose 2 events, or even 3 major events, and they don't have to be like major, they could be anything really. Maybe you weren't born yet, maybe you were a little kid and you didn't get to go. 2 or 3 different events. Well, let's just make it 3, okay? So you could have been at, but weren't. But let's say you had a time machine and you could go back in time, or you could afford the option of traveling to that event or attending that event on one particular day. What would those 3 events be? What would they be? What would you choose? I know what 3 mine would be, okay? And in order of priority or importance, let's say, but it doesn't have to be in order of priority importance either. I really don't know what the priority level is of these 3 in my scope, but I would say 1 would have been the Roswell Crash that occurred on July 7th, I believe it was July 7th, 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. Okay? Excuse my little bump there on my nose. This pimple, it's a curse, right? Would have been the Roswell Crash in Roswell, New Mexico. I would have loved to have been a kid at the time, or living on one of those ranches, and or that have been that farmer, or been a farmer, and you know, having gone out there and seen you know, the wreckage, and discovered the wreckage, and discovered the alien bodies or whatever it was. And that was like, it's like so cool. I think that would have been so cool, especially since I love the desert. I love the West, and that would have been, that is like a top fantasy of mine. I just think it would have been so cool. Just the whole, in the time period, you know, the late 40s, and how that happened. And you know, at the time there were a lot of science fiction movies out at the time, and it would have been kind of like being in one of those movies, kind of like, it's kind of been really cool. The other one would be Woodstock. Now, this event is actually an event. Now, I'm talking about the first one, 1969. I actually came somewhat close to actually being there. I was a child of 5 years old. Actually, I was 5.5, actually over 5.5. That was August, so I was like 5 years and 8 months old. I was pretty close to 6 years old when that happened. And my sister evidently was bugging her husband. She bugged her husband for 2 weeks to go to this thing, and he wouldn't budge. I mean, says she was going to take me and my nephew, her son. So, yeah, would I have liked to have been at that event? Yes, I think that would have been kind of cool. Well, you know, am I a hippie? No, I'm not like, I don't consider myself technically a hippie. I have nothing against them. I like some of their cultures, the way they dress. I like some of the music. I'm mostly an early 70s music person, but just would have loved to have been there. I just think it would have been cool. Probably not the best place for a kid to be, but because originally it was thought only planned to be a small folk type festival and not end up being the big thing that it was. Number 3. Some important event in the Bible during Christ's time. Could have been the Sermon on the Mount. I don't know if I would have wanted to actually be at the crucifixion. That would have really been hard for me to watch that. I don't, would have loved to have met him and spoke to him, or if it was possible to travel back to that time, during biblical times. Actually, you know, I have actually more than 3, but this video is only asking, like, you know, for like, what would your 3 biggest events be if you could be there? But for me, there's more. I would have loved to have traveled back in time to and walk the streets of New York City in the 20s, in the 30s, even the 40s. Would have loved to have been in the 50s, spend a day in the 50s, cruising in a 50s car, you know, like on Back to the Future. Kind of cool. So yeah, if you could go back and witness any event or be at a particular event that took place in time, back in time before you were born, even after you were born, maybe you missed something, maybe, you know, one of them, of course, I said Woodstock, and that would have been because I wanted to see, mostly to see Jimi Hendrix, and there was a few others, Santana and Sly and the Family Stone. There was others, Country Joe and the Fish, Jefferson Airplane. But you know, it would have been cool to have been at a Hendrix concert, period, and in the '60s and at that time. I don't like a whole lot of 60s music, but it would have been kind of interesting. So, yeah. Interested in hearing what your choices would be in that area. But this is a pretty decent chocolate blend, by the way. Edwards, nougat, not bad. Not bad at all. So, let's hear from let's hear about your 3 places. And I'm going to sit here and enjoy my pipe, take in the scenery, the beautiful park. Let me give you a little, let me pan this a little bit here so you can see. Nice, isn't it? Nice fountain in the background. Nice comfortable sound of the water. Enjoying an iced tea. Relaxing. That's what it's all about, right? Having fun, enjoying yourself whenever you can. Because any time in this world, especially in today's world, that you can grab onto something and hold on to something peaceful and mindful and passionate and whatever, it's just a great thing, you know. So grab your pipe, your coffee, your iced tea, whatever, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself for the rest of the day, for the rest of the evening, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.